Welcome to the Enlighten Up podcast, where I am going to take you into a deep exploration of what it means to exist in this current reality. We are going to raise your vibes, open your mind, expand your heart, and dive deep into the wondrous mysteries and possibilities of this lifetime. There's been a spiritual catalyst that has set in motion the awakening process of many across the globe to return to the knowingness of self and unite what has been separated. Together, we're going to bring light into that darkness. We're going to remember the joy of living. But most of all, we're going to turn up the volume of our own eternal power and do the thing we're here to do. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Enlighten Up podcast. I hope you guys are in for a very interesting broadcast from Mary and I today. We are going to be discussing this Libra full moon that is going to be highlighted tomorrow, April 1st. For some of you, April 2nd, if you're living on the far side of the world compared to us here in North America. But before we go into the very dramatic details of this full moon, Mary, my love, how are you doing today?
Blessings in this holy week to you and everyone you love and beloved audience, those listening live, as well as those that will catch the replay. We honor your presence. We give thanks for your attention to wanting to level up through Nicole and I. We hope and bless that we give you some pearls of wisdom and insights of light that help you navigate any kind of rough terrain. And as Nicole and I were briefly talking about, this is a Libra full moon, so it's about relationships and partnership dynamics, the drama, the roller coasters, and the escape and the breakaway and bright new beginnings with Aries. So Nicole and I were laughing about how, a lot of these reality shows can give you a visual of somebody else, so we can learn vicariously somebody else going through relationship dynamics and issues, and I'm like, oh man, are we here again? So with a big old smile, bless you, happy Easter, Passover, et cetera, I want Nicole to start with her great way of picking a reality show specifically that helps bloom out what we're going to be talking about and interpreting as the main energies that are signature to this April Libra full moon.
Oh, yes. If anyone knows me on my channel, they know that I'm a little bit of a reality TV junkie, okay? I fully own it, and I say it with pride because it is my little form of escapism from fully being immersed in spiritual deep healing all day. And sometimes, that's my little guilty pleasure. But we have breaking news today in the reality TV world that actually highlights perfectly what this full moon is bringing. And of course, this is a very extreme version of what the full moon in Libra is all about. But we're going to give you that extreme version. And then we're also Mary and I are going to also give you a little bit more of a, just in true Libra nature, a more balanced version of what could be happening in your life. Although I will say there might be some themes of this nature showing up in yours, depending on, of course, your natal chart and everything that's going on. If you got planets getting activated, me personally, I've got my Pluto getting activated by this Libra full moon, but whatever, let's just get into the dramatics of this particular TV show, which is Summer House. If any of you in my audience are into the show Summer House that airs on Bravo, you have probably been hearing the circulating rumors of West and Amanda perhaps having a secret romantic relationship that they've been denying. Well, they haven't actually been denying. No one's been denying anything. And the reason why this is so scandalous is because Amanda has recently separated from her husband a few months ago, and West was in the past dating Amanda's best friend, who up until what we are seeing coming out on the show right now shows that they could still be her best friend Ciara, West and Ciara still actually pursuing what might be a new chance at a relationship that they've tried before in the past. So before I get into the details of that and highlight to you how this is showing up in the Libra full moon, I do want all planets direct for the month of April, which means this is a perfect time to take action and move forward in your life. And this is your last chance to book your fire horse reading with me. If you want to get a really good quantum leap jumpstart on your year of 2026, that is a perfect reading. I also do want to quickly announce that my next 3-day 180 retreat will be this September 2026. So if you would like to come to the next retreat, I found a whole new location that will allow us to have 6 to 7 people at this retreat. Tickets are now available. I'll leave the link in the description below. Okay, housekeeping over. We're going to jump into the drama. For you guys to understand, we have a full moon in Libra. Libra represents relationships, right? It is the we of the axis, Aries and Libra. Aries is the I, the me, and Libra is the we, the us. And so the full moon is illuminating something within our relationships. And this can go for all kinds of relationships. Our very important one-to-one, it could be romantic, it could be business relationships, all kinds of agreements and contracts. Okay, that is very much the essence of Libra. Now, where things start to get a little dramatic is that, well, one, the full moon is square Jupiter in Cancer, and Jupiter loves to expand everything. It makes everything more exaggerated, bigger, and Cancer being the sign of our emotions, our inner world, our safe place, our home, all of that is kind of triggering, is being a catalyst for this full moon to illuminate something. Now, the ruler of this full moon is Venus. Venus rules Libra, and Venus is currently sitting in Taurus, and this is where she loves to be because she's also the ruler of Taurus. So she's in her domicile, which is great. So Venus is very strong here. And with it being Taurus, it's representing our deepest values, what is important to us, our self-worth, all of these things. However, it is in a square to Pluto in Aquarius. Now, because I have my Venus in an opposition to Pluto, I am very well versed in Venus and Pluto dynamics because it has shown up in my life often. With a Pluto opposite Venus, I have definitely had power struggles, sometimes with women in my life. I've also been cheated on, and that is very much an alignment within my natal chart that is something I have to, confront in this lifetime. When Pluto is square Venus in this instance, it's definitely potentially going to trigger secrets coming out, especially in a full moon that is illuminating things related to love, money, affairs, intimacy, all of those things that our Pluto and Venus can really bring to the surface. Now, why this summer house kind of reality TV expose scandal coming out today in the news, which when I say the news, I just really mean social media. Why this is really highlighting this is because summer house is all about friends sharing a summer house together, okay? And in the house, there's all these different relationships. And so Aquarius, where Pluto is sitting, Aquarius rules our friendships. It rules our bigger groups and networks. And it also rules our future and things of moving forward. Long-term visions. Well, Pluto in there is going to expose things that maybe are needing to be exposed to, maybe break out new visions or destroy old visions. And when it's in a square to Venus in Taurus, it's really going to start to challenge your own personal values, your own self-worth. So with this personal dynamic that we're seeing between this secret, let's just call it love affair, okay, being exposed, is really highlighting the betrayal in friendships, the betrayal through friendships, also betrayal of love, being all highlighted at the same time. Now, what I think is so interesting, I mean, Mary, you can't even make this stuff up. Literally, the show is called Summer House. Well, Jupiter is in Cancer, which rules the home. I mean, truly, Jupiter squaring this Libra full moon, it's literally, it's blowing up the entire like Summer House cast. The whole, like, their whole show is now being considered like, can they even move forward with this show? And I just think it's so funny, the literal kind of display of how this full moon is playing out. So that is an example of how something is being illuminated within relationships to really expose secrets, which is Pluto, okay, between perhaps people in love who are like, you know, that have been hiding it. But not only that, all the other people that are involved. It's not just them two where maybe it's a work affair or whatever. It's like there's all these other people that are involved that are going to be impacting a lot of different friendships, Aquarius. Also, if you've ever watched Summer House, one of the biggest issues with Sierra, who's the one who I think is going to be impacted the most in all of this, who feels the most betrayed, is that she has been going through a deep journey of self-love and her own worthiness and being chosen. And also, one of the things with her is that she always feels like she's not, that the one thing that men want from her is they sexualize her. Like they just want to be with her sexually, but they don't want to just have that deeper connection with her, which is what she craves the most. So much is getting pulled up to the surface here. And I think within our own relationships at this time, I believe that there are going to be unspoken agreements that need to be talked about, are going to be forced to the surface, that we all have to look at in various types of our relationships that are very important to us, about how do we move forward in our lives while looking at what needs to be renegotiated and what is just non-negotiable anymore, and can it even move forward? There's a lot of stuff that has to be really looked at for the future evolution of you and whoever's in your relationship, the relationship itself, in developing forward. So this is very much a clearing of the air, right? The air is getting cleared here through this full moon. But Mary, what are your thoughts, just based off of what I've shared on this kind of reality TV kind of, I mean, the timing couldn't have been more, I mean, apropos for all of this, but what is your take on it all?
I haven't watched the show, but I have watched the show Love is Blind. And so to me, that reality show, you know, to look at different genres and the frustration that people have had since 2020 with how do I date? Is it online? What's scary? When all the news broke about the Craigslist, when people initially were selling things and they started using it for a meetup app, and there were a couple of murders, and that just went Pluto and dark and bizarre. So a lot of times and when you mentioned about the home, Jupiter and Cancer being the home, the other thing that struck me astrologically about Summer House, is that Jupiter's in the sign Cancer, which begins summer solstice here in the Northern Hemisphere. So Libra is about, let's get our house in order. Let's get our feelings out on the table. Libra always wants to seek the win-win. Aries is spontaneous. It usually gets either passionate about the idea, angry at the possible confrontation, or of a friend or a partner, especially a partner, because for Aries, their partnership sector is Libra. So Aries often can get defensive or angry, or, wait a minute, I can't believe you bring that up. That's not that kind of way. And they got to go through that combustible engine fire, you know, the ignition of the engine starting, while the person that's trying to talk to them in a calm manner, Libra, like sitting there going, but wait. Now, in my Scorpio world, I know it goes on, but in my Scorpio world, I don't give a pass. Of course, I'm ruled by Pluto. I don't give a pass for betrayal. I don't bring it to the table. I don't do it. I would say, to your point that you started the show with, we certainly have all gone through some type of life journey experience with dishonesty, deception, betrayal, whether you have been the one that succumbed to being afraid to confront it. And there's extremes to this. Like if a male or a female is in a highly toxic, abusive relationship. I've had many clients over 45 years, especially the younger ones, that just did not know how to get out of a toxic, abusive, verbally abusive, gaslighting, narcissistic, sociopathic, dangerous, physically abusive, financially abusive relationship. They just couldn't do it unless they found a way that they could leave the city, leave the state, seek another partner that would be their white knight or the queen that would put them inside a castle type of a thing. So a lot of times we all have different childhood theaters. We all, on the stage of life, when we come to a full moon, the full moon, to Nicole's point, is going to light up the configurations and the representations of that particular sign that's being lit up for that month. So let's give the recipe of this moon real quick. Mm-hmm. Number one, this is the first full moon since equinox. So this full moon, we had equinox 320. Those of you in the southern hemisphere, it opened up autumn. For us, it opens up spring. Regardless of what the outside temperatures are, these are like the Wheel of Fortune of the tarot. This is the great turning of the wheel. So equinox equal day and night. Oh, look at that. Even though equinox here opens up Aries, the ram I am, the equinox, the scales of justice, the balance needed in things starts to get exposed every year in our personal lives globally, in the collective, what we're seeking psychologically, spiritually. Where do we need to balance in our mind thinking, in our psychological patterns? What is it we need to rise up over? Where might we want to pat ourselves on the back at this full moon? Because Aries is about, I'm done with this. This keeps coming up. I'm so frustrated at this. But Aries have to also now, and happy birthday, Aries, reconcile how is your anger management going. You don't have to, at 20 years old or 50 years old or 60 years old, you don't have to keep jumping immediately on the anger trampoline or the anger roller coaster the same kind of way all the time. You're not 10 anymore. So it helps for us, since Aries is the newborn child in a sense, it helps for us to look at, I don't have to dwell on how as an infant, as a young child, as a toddler going into, my childhood years, I don't have to always remember or go back to that timeline jumping of what factors were involved in me forming my temper and my reactionary or defensive behaviors. We all had some kind of childhood, or you're not listening to this. It's like you're listening to this. We've got various ages out there in our listening audience. But when we can course correct on our path to purposefulness, regardless of your biological age, Aries season yearly, Libra full moon every year, puts us in check to see what factors might be inhibiting, even if we're doing self-defeating behaviors. Hope not. That's something that's in your control. What your partner's doing is something you might have to navigate, but you are responsible for your feelings. You are responsible to level up, raise the bar higher, that kind of a thing. So Aries gives us the initiative. Aries gives us the aspiration. Libra is giving us divine inspiration, where Aries aspires. The fire signs of Aries, Leo, Sagittarius aspire to overcome the odds. The air signs, Nicole talks about during the air signs of Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. She spoke about Pluto and Aquarius. They want to clear the atmosphere. Let's clear the air. Let's get out on the table. So regardless of what your zodiac sign is right now, let's just work with your sun sign. What's being featured and lit up and spotlighted by Grandmother Moon, which is our inner world. And by the way, the moon rules the sign Cancer. Jupiter's in Cancer, and it's in a dynamic with all these cardinal signs of the Aries and the Cancer and the Libra. And so we've got cardinal signs are taking action signs. So the cardinal signs are Aries, Libra, Cancer, Capricorn.
hold on.
Hold on.
Mary, 1 second. Sorry. For some reason, the sound is coming in a little funny. And I don't know if it's just me or if the audience is hearing it as well. Yeah, hold on. 1 second here. Let me just... okay, try again.
Okay, testing 1, 2.
Oh, much better, much better. Okay, continue.
Okay, so just to encapsulate all that, Libra, as Nicole said earlier, need to carry all the load financially. One partner doesn't need to carry all the emotional or scheduling type of things. And both partners, ideally, if you're attracted to somebody, both partners want to clear the air. Both partners want to be a win for the other person participating. Now, Libra rules the dove of peace. Aries is the hawk of war. We entered, as Nicole mentioned, the Chinese New Year in mid-February at that new moon. We entered not just the horse year, we entered the fire horse year. Aries is the first sign. In numerology, 2026 is a 1. We have got such a tremendous synchronistic, lots of different studies, lots of different ways that you can do self-therapy, whether it's astrology, numerology, color therapy. I mean, it's a red year. It's the colors of flames in the tarot. Aries is significated.
Hold on, Mary. Hold on. Okay, there's something going on with the speaker in my headphone, which is what's kind of creating static. So I need to change over a headphone that's not going to do this feedback. So just 1 second, everyone. Hold on while I get something so you guys don't get this and I don't know why it's doing that because it's never done it before. But let me just grab a headset.
Breathe.
Yeah, let me
just breathe and call the light.
Okay, so let me see if I can. Yeah. Okay, good. Okay, because I can see someone else is saying that they're getting that feedback. So let me...
Oh, that's good to know. Thank you, audience.
Okay, now let me do this. Okay, Mary, go ahead and try that again now. Hold on a second. I'm gonna actually, hold on 1 second. I need to fix something in Zoom really quickly. Okay. Can you try speaking now?
Yes.
Okay,
Happy
there
birthday,
we go.
Aries.
Much better, much better. Okay, everyone, I apologize for the interruption and that, because that's never happened before. So hopefully this will be a nice fix for us. So Mary, please continue where you were leaving off, because you were talking about how we're looking for balances, like ideally both partners are looking to share the load and find a balance together.
Yes. And therefore, if we are in harmony, Libra, if we can find, regardless of one partner's strong personality and the other partner's strong personality, if the two can start to work together as a team, Libra, what can we do? How together are we able to overcome not only individual past betrayals, past fears of triggers or vulnerability, because this full moon's wanting to bring those up, not as oh my God, here it is again, I'm getting triggered. She's angry, he's angry. It's not about that. It's about being able to shape shift that, which I mentioned the Emperor, Mars. Mars is coming home April 9th to his home base, a home run in the sign of Aries. So we've got a lot of Aries coming up right now, and Mars hasn't been there for 2 years. Jupiter's not been in Cancer. It changes in July, but it's not been in Cancer for 12 years. That's a Jupiterian cycle. Leos are about to start their once in a 12-year cycle in July, another fire sign coming in. So Venus is the Empress in tarot cards. We were talking about different divination forms. People relate visually to different things. Libra is the scales of justice. And in the tarot, the Justice card, number 11, in different artistic renditions, she's usually holding a sword. So she's got the scales of justice, and she's also holding a sword, which symbolically can be many things, but we'll just pick she's able to stand for what she believes, cut off what she needs to cut off, and she's able also to declare, this is where I'm good. This is the best version of me. So although there's been chaos in our interactions that may need to have clarity, like we're working to clear and cleanse any kind of confusions. There can often be a lot of confusion when we assume about scenarios, even the current crime stories that are on TV. You know, people that are watching, you know, who murdered who and what's going on with this and why haven't they found the perpetrator yet on this situation that's in the news. That's often a mystery. It's like, how do we end up here? So an Aries Libra axis dynamic is, how did we end up here? How can we ascertain that our working relationship, our family dynamic, our domestic scenario, all those issues, how can we get that better in balance? And then you have to ask yourself truly and be honest with yourself, to thine own self be true. Do I feel like I'm giving the most effort? Am I building internal resentment on that? Because one of the minuses of Libra, they'll do all kinds of work to get the relationship out of a topsy-turvy type of a status. But then Libra's like, I don't want to always have to do all the work to course correct this. I don't blow up with my temper. I know I'm a strong personality, but my first go-to isn't, you suck, you're wrong. You know, so Aries, every Aries client I've ever talked to said, yeah, I know, I get hot, I blast off a bunch of words, and then it's over with. It's quicker than any other sign when they've studied their sign. That's what Aries says to me. And I said, okay, so now that you know that, can you get out of the category of just being a typical Aries? Can you level up with your moon? Can you level up with your rising sign? Let's not make our zodiac sign an excuse to act in a radical behavior. It's just like, oh, I'm a Scorpio, I'm supposed to do that. Well, I'm a Taurus, so I want to control the money. So Venus ruling this full moon right now, and Venus squaring off with Pluto in Aquarius, as Nicole was so aptly defining about our friendships and the dynamics of who we're stepping back from and who we hope to connect with sooner rather than later. Venus and Taurus, first and foremost, shows us what is our top 3 or top 10, whatever you want to do. Hope you've got a top 10 list, but at least the top 3 on the top 10 list, priorities that right now you can very comfortably, Venus is about soft moments, soft, sweet places to land on whatever issues are going on around us. Where are your soft moments that you can easily say, this is really valuable in my life? This is a very valuable quality that I have in my relationships, how I do business, how I promote things, what I will endorse, what I absolutely will not endorse or share with anybody else because I feel it's tricky or toxic or it's got snares and dark forces with it. So Venus is about, when she's in Taurus, like she is now recently, and she loves Taurus and Libra, so it's that Empress card, it's the Justice card, it's the Emperor. And what we're doing with the Pluto and Aquarius is we're clearing the air, because Aries forms what we astrologers call a technical term, 60-degree dynamic relationship. Aries and Aquarius are good together. It's the A team. They know how to clear a room. They know how to make you laugh. They know how to uplift. So I guess I would say, Nicole, I'm putting Aries on point right now. You're entering your new cycle. So first and foremost, and you can have the conversation with yourself, Aries, before you even display it out with your kids or your parents or your job or your lover or what you're seeking in an intimate scenario. Work on, since Aries is me, myself, and I, work on how you, yourself, and you are expressing some of your vulnerabilities, and make sure that you yourself feel good about setting up that conversation with that person of importance of like, I really would like to get something off my chest. I absolutely don't want to condemn or judge or fight, but I need to clear the air. I need to own my own stuff. I overreacted. I'm trying not to get angry first. You matter. This matters. I want to come at it softer, and then express your fear. I just don't want to be betrayed or taken advantage of again. That's my trigger. That's my hot point. So when we come into a new relationship, if we find that coworker threatened by us or being snarky, or they want to, we don't mean to, but we just happen to be really good at that aspect of the job, and they're starting to feel some kind of way, get a little jealous, maybe get a little competitive. It's like if we could just say, I'm just wanting to be a team player here. Libra's the team player. I'm just, whatever station they put me on or whatever aspect of work it is, that's just me. But I'm going to get involved with a project or work or whatever. Both feet are on the ground and I give a damn. And I'm going to do the best that I can do. That's just a quality of me disciplining me. I'm not saying that I expect everybody else to do it, but what I won't do, let me just make this boundary real clear. What I won't do if you start to get lazy because I'm a really hard worker, I'm not carrying your slack. Yeah. I'm not here to be your work mule. It's a fire horse year. It's not a work mule. It's not a draft horse kind of a year. So Aries, you just got to know Aries always runs hot. Aries always can have an irritation or an impatience, and they kind of just like the bottom line. Venus ruling this is going to soften it somewhat. And it's okay to have fiery passion. 2026 is all about all kinds of fires going off in the air. Just look at the news. But there's a duality. Libra's a duality, just like with everything in life. When we find ourselves sitting under this next 3 days, as we have our Holy Week, coming into the full moon in Libra, it just reminds us, without judgment, without condemnation, and without criticism, and I'm also including self-criticism, where might we invite and embrace, take a little deeper look at, more of an airy, cool, rational, helping to smooth things out and maybe direct the fire within so it doesn't have to be, how dare you ask me that? It doesn't have to be that. It doesn't have to be. Let your fires be passionate and campfires and ceremonial fires, and watch the smoke from the herbs and the smoke, with the essential oils and the frankincense. Clear the air. This is about cleansing, but there is a level of unearthing and digging in. It's also planting garden time and putting the seeds and the bulbs in the ground. There's an empowerment that comes from this particular lunation. So as Nicole said, with the full moon and Venus squaring off with Pluto, there is a transformation, a sincerity. There's a sincerity to overcome it. There's a sincerity to pat ourselves on the back. Venus and Pluto create just enough tension, like a rubber band, like a bungee cord, that's asking us, can you face the fear? Can you deal with the trigger? Can you not take your past trigger and shoot yourself in the foot right now in 2026? Because those things happen then with them. And although you want to keep your eyebrow raised and have your discernment in your emotional life, you don't want to automatically, when tension comes, say, my ex-girlfriend did that to me. I was mistreated. I was taken advantage of. And I've had people that were unfair with me. You got to let that happen within you and then just clear it, give it to God. Breathe in light, whatever you need to do, find your calm, find your center, so that the things that have remained hidden, especially regarding how you relate or don't relate or won't relate and connect with another as it gets more vulnerable, as it gets more intimate. You can screw anybody you want to, but real intimacy has to do with how you're beginning to navigate together. It's not just a sex act. It's not just the adult play intimacy type of a thing. So the good news is that Mercury is playing a big role in this lunation, this initiation, because it's moving through its final pass of the 12th sign of Pisces. So this is like us getting some tangible results of the healing and the diseases and the discomfort and the things were out of balance over the last 4 months. So Mercury's finished up its retrograde recently, and it comes out of its shadow period in early April. So we're tying up loose ends. We're moving toward resolutions. Mercury is working very well in Pisces with that Jupiter in Cancer that Nicole mentioned. So it will bring exciting news. It can bring tangible, manifested outcomes of positivity. So this Mercury-Jupiter trine started up. It's been ongoing since mid-February when Saturn and Neptune locked into Aries. And this pass right now reminds us that growth is at the heart of everything. Like a garden, And so we're finding inspiration and an effluvia, a flow of joy in our life again. But to do that, we've also got to shake out, just like shaking the dust off of something or dusting or shaking the hairs off your pet blankets. You got to shake out those outdated mentalities. That's what you've got to do. The sun and moon squaring off with Jupiter is a turning point. It is a turning point in Jupiter's story. Jupiter hasn't been in Cancer for 12 years. Go back 6 months and look forward to what can manifest by July, because Jupiter always asks us, if we extend beyond what we used to see, let's go forward in what we can see, perhaps pushing us to plant some seeds and nourish our love garden, our financial garden, our mental garden, our psychological wellness, our holistic mandates and disciplines where fears once grew. We're uprooting that. And the Jupiter influence is welcoming us, getting us to be more expansive, and that just don't bite off more than you can chew. Don't get so zealous that you buy 200 packets of seeds and you're probably only going to plant 40. Put them in the freezer or something. So look at the bigger picture. That's Jupiter. That's Pluto. Get some fresh eyes, because this is that first month, the momentum by mid-April. This is really the theme of what this new 9-year cycle in numerology, what the fire horse hasn't been here for 60 years. Saturn hasn't been in Aries for 30 years. Neptune is in Aries. It's not been there for a long time, as well as their alignment together in the same sign, first sign. So this right now is very optimistic in a sense, and I would finalize that by saying, how can I use this full moon to my best advantage? Short answer. Release any pain in your heart. Let yourself unfold toward the beauty of the unknown. How are you also trusting the mystery of God, the mystery of your sacred guardian angels, the mystery of transforming and resurrecting and varying and rising up again? So in our relationships, they're movable. It's like a ship on the sea. In our relationships, we're moving, we're navigating, we're going into a safe harbor, or we're pulling out again for a new journey. If you're craving, if you're longing for the connection and having the lines of communication more open and flowing, the Pluto in Aquarius, the Libra dynamic here is saying, whatever you establish, whatever you release now until mid-April is going to be lasting. And in life, this is one of those hallmark years. In life, there's always a give and take, always a give and take. So I'd like to invite you to honor that reciprocity that I give to you, you give to me. We don't have to compete with each other. We're both doing good work here. We're both giving outward. And so we bless those people that want to respond to our talents, our skill sets, invest in us and all that. That's when it's a win-win for everybody. When we look for a solution, everybody's going to win. Everybody's going to win. So think about the animal totem as the dove of peace. The peace branch, the olive branch, extending the olive branch. But that does not ever mean that you have a new person in your life and you're taking the same old abuse that's a pattern that you've always put up with. Or God help you, if you're starting to be the abuser, this full moon is so intense that if that's been a pattern of yours, that you've been the betrayer and the abuser, in whichever way that you've known that you've not been unfair and you've been deliberately hurtful and manipulative and controlling and just Machiavellian in your agenda in order to maintain control because of all your triggers, that's not going to work well. That'll collapse on you by mid-April. It will collapse on you. And the problem with that is this might be the fact that you lose a really good job, a really good opportunity, and a really good person that the divine sent to you because you couldn't get out of your own shell.
Yeah.
We got to look at our comfort zones. We got to look at our comfort zones, Nicole. We got to look at how we retreat. I'd much rather see people retreat into a reality show or fishing or going sailing or meditating or dancing or singing. Right now, the focus of this season is about how can you get off the cross? How can you resurrect? How can you transform? Because you chose to invite the softness and the strength of wisdom and light and the truth that prevails over time to help you level up and be that better, best version of yourself.
Yeah, this full moon is so interesting because I'm literally seeing so many things, like even in my personal life, of particular friends that are needing to have a very do conversation of perhaps mending fences and being able to move forward. Again, that Pluto in Aquarius is like, how do we move forward? How do we get beyond? How do we liberate ourselves? How do we break free? Right. And a lot of, I would say, I can see within certain friends that I know that are needing to have like these conversations. Even like myself, I can already see that there are certain conversations I want to have with my partner about our future and, you know, things that maybe like I know that we are on the same page about, but we haven't really discussed, you know, how are we going to get there? What are we going to do? What needs to change? What's working? What doesn't? Where are your values right now? And just, it's kind of like really, again, it's like if you've been letting things like slide and you haven't been really upfront about some of these things, this is the full moon that wants to bring it out so that you can move forward. And as you said, like Jupiter and that Jupiter trying to Mercury in Pisces is really beautiful, because what that's doing is Mercury in Pisces is really wanting like, hey, let's communicate our dreams, our hopes. You know, what is it that we really like want the most, that we maybe haven't been able to bring to fruition yet, but we want to together, whether it's, you know, a partner or a friendship or a business partner, whatever it might be. Okay. Because this is for all important kinds of relationships. But what is that? And really kind of looking at, you know, feeding into Jupiter, where Jupiter is always first and foremost going to be about your growth. Okay. It wants you to grow. It wants you to move beyond. And as Mary said, it's about seeing the bigger picture. So right now it is about you in your relationships, looking at the bigger picture and using like Mercury from this, like, let's communicate our hopes and our dreams and our wishes, okay, of what we want and that we'd like to birth into, maybe bring this together. Are we on the same page of our values? Because that's where Venus is coming into play. But it's going to be one of those things where really Jupiter wants you to say, look, there is something beyond the horizon. You can't see it just yet, but you know it's there. And what do you have to do within yourself to evolve and grow? What can you take care of? And there's so much going on here right now. And like you said, with Saturn being in Aries for the first time in 30 years for us, Saturn is also playing a role in this full moon, because Saturn is at 5 degrees. So one, it's in a beautiful sextile to Pluto. But Saturn being so close to the sun, you know, in a wide orb, Saturn is also saying in Aries, like, hey, I got to be responsible for me. I got to take care of my side of the street. So what do I need to do to mature, to evolve, to kind of like, okay, time to put my head down and just do the things that actually matter and not really fool around with all this other fluff stuff that doesn't. I think that's going to be another part of this full moon that you're going to be noticing when it comes to evaluating your relationships, your friendships, all of that. It's really bringing that up, and it is a turning point. It really does feel like a major turning point, because with Venus is going to be going retrograde later this year, correct? At the end of the year? Is Venus going, I think Venus is in December, Venus goes retrograde, Mary?
I'll check it. I know we don't have Pluto retrogrades on May 6th. I've got the ephemeris in front of me. Go ahead and do your dance and I'll check it with, I don't remember actually if this is a Venus retrograde year. Let me see. I usually go 6 months out, but I haven't checked December yet.
Yeah, I think it might be. I think December might be when.
Okay, I'm looking at December. It doesn't retrograde. Okay, you're close. Venus will retrograde at 8 degrees of Scorpio on October 3rd. And she will come out of retrograde. And it's important you guys make notes, because you may be thinking about March, April right now, but it's a big cycle. She will come direct at 22 Libra on the 14th of November. So that point, since Venus rules this full moon, that point of when Venus retrogrades at 8 Scorpio on the 3rd of October, that's going to be some of these situations. Here's the link. Some of the scenarios that are going on now that we're wanting to correct, that we decide, are we staying, are we going? A lot of that is going to produce, it's like a mystery. It's like a little bit of a detective story. It doesn't have to be bad. But what's happening right now is, if there's any corrections, it's good to kind of look at with loving eyes. Are there areas that we could make more peaceful in our togetherness? And keep in mind, it may not be just your romantic partner. This is that time, as Nicole was saying, I can already see, besides the people that I'm interacting with in my social life and my friendships and with my beloved partner, I can already see that we're going to get together as a team with our Libra-ness between us, our peace factors, our scales of justice being balanced. I can already see that we're going to put our heads together. It's an air sign. Put your heads together. Communication is important. Did I say that? Being able to communicate is the most important thing when we have an air sign dominant dynamic. So this full moon is in the element of air. So are we breathing stressfully? Are we holding our breath? Do we feel like we're under tension? Do we feel like that we could hyperventilate? Like you hear these people, a lot of times a child, even if they're 55 years old or 32 years old, often at one of the fight, flight, fawn, a lot of times when people have a defense mechanism that comes up of like, I can't breathe, I can't take this, I can't do this, and then all of a sudden they just zone out. They just don't. Other of you out there, you'll go right into it. You'll confront it. I mean, I know that one. You'll go right into it and go, what's going on here? Well, sit down. Let's talk. You go first. None of that threatens me. I'd rather get it out in the open. But there's a lot of people, you have to understand, people have different psychological, emotional strengths or weaknesses. So when somebody starts to fawn or go into the faint thing, they'll just like check out on you. And I can see where if somebody's confrontational or if somebody is, a fighter or just take off, but the fawning is different than, fight or flight. Fawning is like, they're right there with you, but they're going through some kind of a bit of a mild panic attack and dissociative reaction. So learn that about the people that you're choosing to have closest to you. And sometimes if you can't get over that with each other, like you can't be always confrontational, you got to temper that. It's about balance, isn't it? Bring that down a little bit. At the same time, you got to do you, you got to be you. So the confrontational person has to say, I can see that's really got a grip on you. I'm not here to make that worse. No, I'm not here to make that worse. You want to, can we take a break? You want to get something to eat, sit outside, take a break from each other right now, as far as just be quiet about it, not bring it up right now, but it's not going away. Just if we ignore it or put it off for right now. I'll go ahead and write down some things that I'm concerned about, and maybe we can come back together with it. Let's find a way that works. I want to bring out the best in you, and I want to bring out the best in me. So we need to adjust to each other. Any new relationship you get into, any relationship that you seek longevity with, it's a work in progress all the time.
Yeah, and I think why it's important for us to note this to you guys with the Venus going retrograde, and now it's going to be going retrograde during Libra season, meaning the new moon in Libra, which is what we're going to see. Like, so this is a full moon in Libra. 6 months out, we're going to be completing that cycle. But what's really interesting is if Venus is going retrograde at, did you say 8 degrees of Scorpio on the 3rd of October, to be squaring Pluto again. Okay, now it's going to be going back and forth, right? So it's going to pass the square to Pluto a couple of times. And so it's interesting that in the new moon coming, so what have we discussed in this full moon that was illuminated and really kind of, like you said, clearing the air and setting the stage for 6 months down the road for the new things? Because once Venus is in Scorpio and she's going retrograde at that time, she's also in Pluto's home. So there's going to be an interesting communication. Pluto's going to be very dominant in that part of the sky. So this is going to be part of an ongoing story for you guys that is going to evolve even further this fall. So pay attention to what's coming up right now. It's going to help you set the tone for something deeper that you can begin in the fall. There's new ground that's going to be starting.
Let me just add this. As you're taking notes on what Nicole's saying, let me give you the deets. Let me give you the specifics. This is how we astrologers work. So right now, the sun, besides the various other planets we've mentioned, the sun is right now in the fire sign of Aries, okay, the first sign of the zodiac, Aries. So the sun is in Aries. We'll have the new moon over the 17th of April. So the sun and moon will join forces or marry the energy of Aries. When we have the full moon this year in Aries, when we have the full moon on the 26th of September, 2026, 26th of September, 2026, that will be, here's all the Aries seeds, planting the garden, feeling invigorating, moving forward, no retrogrades this month. We don't even have a retrograde till May 6th. That'll be Pluto turning retrograde in Aquarius. So that's when it's going to be the Aries connection. So what we're working on now comes to full moons illuminate things. There's some kind of culmination, or we get to take the next step once we realize the goal. That's going to be third week of September, September 26th. The full moon right now, it's very strong, March 31st, April 1st exact in most time zones. And as Nicole said, other time zones, Australia, New Zealand are way different than here in the Smoky Mountains in Tennessee. So the full moon's in Libra, when we're going to have that new moon that she's talking about. When we come up to that new moon on the 10th of October, October is a 10 month. It's going to be the new moon on the 10th of October. That's going to be when we have the new moon. So what we're working on, what we're working out, how we're seeking the dynamics of self-improvement over the drama of self-criticism, we're going to see very tangible results around that time. So this full moon linked to October 10th, Libra, new moon. That's when the sun and moon will marry and join forces and have a very illuminating result being in Libra. So the sun right now, the solar, the yang, the electrical, the positive, the plug that goes into the wall. Right now, that's Aries. Right now, that's Aries. The outlet, so the vacuum will work or the leaf blower work, the outlet that the plug is going into, that's Libra. That's this Libra full moon. So if we need to change the light bulbs, if we need to dust the ceiling fan blades, if we need to do a new nutritional program with ourselves or our pets, if we're going to, in our journals, if you'll write down Libra, Venus, Libra, peace-seeking, way shower toward peace, Aries, the warrior, Aries, so let's start something new. Let's try it a different kind of way, because there's in this life walk, there's always got to be give and take. So we need to get creative while the sun is in the sign of Aries beginnings, new starts, better options, opportunities forthcoming, test the waters. Aries was more than test the waters. Aries like, I'm gonna try it. Don't know how long I'll stay. Aries and Gemini are like, I don't know how long I'll stay, but I'm gonna try this. This has got my curiosity. I felt a creative surge. So this is that cycle. April is that cycle to try that new thing. Libra right now is getting our internal self ready because it's the moon. And both these signs, by the way, are yang. Both these signs are very masculine. So it's the initiation. It's the, what do I want to plug into? It's because it's required that much effort, but it's thinking out of the box. You make a homemade meatloaf for somebody. You take somebody a little tray, appetizer tray, the charcuterie boards that they're doing now. You create a soft moment for somebody. You buy a color that reminds you of one of your female friends of a nail polish, and you just say to them, this color so reminded me of you, so I don't know if you'll like it or not, but I just bought it for you. It's a little investment, instead of just the bitching and moaning of, oh, what's going to happen are we going to have supply chain issues? The gas prices are going up. I hate this. I hate that about politics or this or that. I'm telling you, with the Libra full moon, put all that crap on hold. Scroll less on anything to do with any news dynamic. That's not being avoidant. It's in our face all the time. So find that reality show escape, find that comedy show, your favorite comedian, go look at that. Listen to people that are offering meditations and an easier way for you to learn astrology and numerology and what's going on with your sign this month with people like Nicole and I. I mean, we didn't have this 20, 30 years ago, the ability to go to YouTube, the ability to, we were going to seminars and trainings and weekend workshops, and we had more books than we do downloads or uploads. But there's TikTok and all this. But I have to say this about the ADD, the OCD factor that can go on with the Aries Libra axis too. don't just assume. And I have no problem saying it, and I am a metaphysical reader and astrologer of over 4 decades. Don't assume because somebody's got a YouTube channel, or they're reading cards, or they're a psychic, or a numerologist, or claim that they're a Reiki master. Work with your discernment. If that person, you feel like that you're being elevated, that there's an evolutionary type of thing going on with the astrology that you're learning, that you like the way they define it, you're compatible, you're seeing it work, the mechanics, the cosmic starry mechanics are working, because a good astrologer, we're wanting to bring all that technical stuff, all those parts and pieces and the engine of the heavens. Our work is to bring it down and try to make it work in the 3D world, like to let you understand, like Nicole and I may not use all those fancy $200 technical terms much. We want to deliver, our work is to deliver it to you in a way that you can apply it and understand it. But don't assume because somebody's doing a TikTok video or an Instagram or a YouTube, or you need to use your discernment to say, how did I feel about that? What did that invoke in me? That was, as we call in First Nations, Native American teachings, that ended up being a good fix for me, good medicine. I'm going to put that in my medicine bag of here comes Venus again. That's valuable to me. There's a lot of astrologers out there. God bless them. There's a lot of readers out there of all kinds, and mediums and prophets and preachers and all of that. But this Aries season is also, this full moon starts something that I studied all through my 20s through a foundation out of England called White Eagle. And I have applied this ever since I learned it in my 20s. There are 3 ascended master full moons: the Libra one, the Scorpio one, and the Sagittarius one. This one is the ascended master Christos resurrection ascension energies of the Christ consciousness. So it always occurs close to Passover, Easter. It brings up those holy dynamics of the structure and the foundation of your spirituality. Saturn's in Aries, so our structure and the foundation of truths and beliefs that now serve us to be that better version of ourselves, that's shifting, that's changing. We're needing some innovative, fresh ways to experience and make our spirituality palatable. It's in Aries. It's a new way to get the holy fire, the sacred divination, the divine alignments going in your life. And it's fiery. And it's burning away the old, where it's like when you have one of those fires out in your backyard and you're just burning things because you're not in the burning van. You know, you sit there and you monitor the fire and you just watch all those papers or that wood or whatever it is just go. So there's some fire burning going on right now, those fiery thoughts, anger management. But it's also a cycle for you to realize that the element is fire in Aries, and the air, the oxygen that has to happen to keep the fire going is Libra. So it's our breath. What are you breathing in? What do you want to exhale? Take time to exhale, to release the stress, to stretch your muscles, to kick back and take an afternoon nap, to make a smoothie, do some things that are very self-nurturing, because Aries always will be also about me taking care of my inner child, my toddler, my youthful self, Nicole taking care of her inner daughter. It's also about us at whatever age we are saying, how can I soothe my inner child? What's good for him or her?
Oh, sorry, I was muted there. I just wanted to make sure I didn't interrupt you.
It's important. No. It's important. It's important for us as any kind of a caregiver, a way shower, a teacher, a shaman. How are we, besides all the people we help and we care about and we do, how are we, take a look at your inner child. How's that doing? That's Aries too. That's big time Aries too.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would say too, what is really interesting about this particular full moon is when we talk about what does Libra rule, like even in our bodies, the kidneys come up.
Yep.
And the kidneys, the reason why this is important is because the kidneys will always be around what you fear. Okay, because it creates, like, obviously the adrenals sit on the kidneys, and there can be stress and all that. But the kidneys is where we store a lot of our fear. And so Pluto in Aquarius squaring Venus, this could be like, what do we fear about? Are our values aligned? Have my values changed? What, maybe it's fears of, like, are our futures still aligned? Like, all these different things that might be coming up in how you view your different relationships, and really about speaking the truth, speaking your truth, facing things that you might be fearful of communicating, saying. Again, it's this, like we said, this is a very much clearing of the air kind of full moon. This is about really getting it out. And again, it's really about a fluid balance. And so finding a balance where things aren't getting so, when I think about how this could present in your body, like edema. Okay, so edema is when there's too much fluid around a joint or something like that, where it gets puffy and it's just a lot of water, and you got to move some of that fluid out of the area. And so with Jupiter in Cancer, it's like, where have maybe emotions cause some kind of backlog? Like Mary was saying earlier in the show, this is important for you to really, like, it does feel like we're maturing in how we communicate our particular emotions and what our feelings are and what we need feeling wise, so that when we are trying to get on a similar page or see if we can meet in the middle and find a really beautiful balance, that we're not letting emotions bloat up or bog down a particular channel in your relationship from having that really nice flow element. So I think that's something that also, when we kind of look at what's going on, is it does feel like it's trying to clear a channel for you for, like, again, perhaps more open communication with that Mercury trine Jupiter, but also to clear a pathway for the future in a way that's much more agreeable to both parties.
Well, look at what you were just talking about, the bladder and the kidneys in medical astrology. So the kidneys, and whether we're really fully hydrated or not, so the body is, it's got its filtering systems, and the kidneys and the liver can be related. And so the kidneys, what do people say? There's been a slang term, I still hear it today, used for, that I've heard for most of my life, that pissed me off. So one of the slang terms of the kidneys being released more than the bowels is, that pisses me off, or I'm pissed off right now. So our piss is off, our urine, the uric acid, that whole type of a dynamic. And the edema, the swelling, sometimes there's a whole kind of lots of things that can happen with edema in the legs and the feet swelling. That's also when you need to check in on your heart chakra, and get that cleared. But that balance, this is a really great time. If I'm going to talk about Libra in a holistic sense, I just ordered some all natural electrolyte little packets, lemon flavored, citrus flavored electrolyte packets, because I do a holistic turning of the wheel too. So I'm planting oregano. I've got the rosemary going, and when my rosemary grows, it's from my rosemary oil, and I did my pillowcases, with rosemary oil. Rosemary oil clears and aerates the brain. Rosemary is like eucalyptus or camphor. It's got vapors to disinfect the air. Rosemary, when I grow my rosemary plant, it looks very much like lavender. When I trim, instead of leaves, they've got a thing called splines. And herbal, so they have this stem, and it's got these little things on it. If you've ever cooked with rosemary, look at it the next time you go to the store. Like, most people use rosemary to cook chicken or turkey dishes. So I take the spline when I'm growing it, and I snip that, and I stick it right in my conditioner bottle or right in my shampoo bottle, because the oil of rosemary goes right into whatever particular shampoo or cleansing products you want to do. It's very invigorating, and it's the number one aromatherapy essence for memory and brain function, like keeping the brain fog away. That would be rosemary. And again, we're dealing with an air sign. So what's the air you're breathing? Right now I'm working with that, and I'm planting Greek oregano, because oregano is the number one herbal cleanser as far as anything that might be the pollen in the air, or any viral things they're talking about, or the Bradford pears or the pine pollen and that kind of stuff. And then when you get the dust, like Nicole and I were talking about weather anomalies out west. I didn't know about her area, but I knew about Phoenix, and I knew about out west getting these outrageous record-breaking heat temperatures. And it was in the news that there was this really bizarre, that like they were telling people certain parts of Florida and also certain parts of Phoenix, around the Phoenix area and parts of California, shut your windows because the heat was so high and the pollen and the dust factor was coming around for like a forced spring, because it's more hot than what spring would be in those areas. It's much hotter than what the spring season normally is. And they were saying this is like a problem for people. You know, it could cause you problems with your lungs or your respiratory system, which is Gemini. So those dual, the lungs, the respiratory system, that's the Gemini dynamic. On April 25th, Uranus, the great disruptor, the great awakener, Uranus will move into the sign of Gemini. So right now, as Uranus finishes in the sign of Taurus, the earthy sign, you know, we need to start to value the air that we breathe, how we clean our homes. When I clean my ceiling fans, once a year at least, I get up on those ceiling fans. I may clean them with white vinegar or some warm water or an all-natural cleaner. And then I have a little paper towel with some warm water, and I've got the essential oil that clears the air up on those fan blades. It might be eucalyptus, it might be lavender, it might be rosemary. It's probably going to be a blend. And where I'm at with rosemary and lemon, that disinfects and cleans the air. You can wash your air conditioning filters. If you've got any units, clean them, wash them with white vinegar, let them dry, get that pickle smell out of there. I stick them out in the sun and let them dry before air conditioning season really gets heavy, or your vents on the floor, or what they call the air conditioning returns. Get you a little Q-tip and clean that a little bit with whatever you want to, and then put some essential oils on the underside of those metal vents that you've got. And your home is now going to be circulating healing oils in the atmosphere of the air. I don't have the same kind of pollen issue. I've got something working for me, that oscillating tower fan that you've got, before I turn those things on, they've been cleaned. I've got my little implement in there, and I've got some essential oil on all those little slits in that oscillating tower fan. It's going to be doing a, in 180 type of circle to give me the air in my room. And other people do air purifiers like they do their water purifiers, but water and hydration right now is more important in 2026 than I'd say probably 7-8 years, because all of these Aries planets, we're running hot. We're not probably hydrating as well as we could. So to check myself, I ordered those little portable packets that come in these little packets. And if I go to a restaurant where I have my bottled water, I can just pour it right in there, and I am putting my electrolytes in my body that automatically will boost your immune system. There's different things you do in spring, just like you plant different flowers or herbs in spring than you would as you're coming into garlic planting season or potato planting season. So, and Libra's also the aesthetics of beauty, getting some new towels. Libra tends toward either fire engine red, which is also Aries, but I know a lot of people that are Libra, they don't like wearing pastel colors. They want to wear red. They feel powerful in red. Where Libra is the blend, the very pastel pink, the sky blues, the robin eggs blue. That's the mixture of adding more white into the red and you get pink. Or you add more white into the navy blue and you'll get the sky blues, or you're getting the really beautiful pale yellows of Easter and the aquas. So Libra normally is prints and colors that come together, whether it's stripes or polka dots or florals. Libra likes to put that panache, that punch of color out there in some way. So you might find you're experimenting with hair jewelry or makeup, or again, different nail polishes or different socks, or something that's kind of just, it's okay to do some attention seeking things. The guy that wants to get the really wild socks that, that he wears out, and it's cocktail hour, fun and frolic type of a thing. Right now, it's really good for you also to focus. If I looked at the hearing aesthetics, because Aries rules the main 5 senses, I would focus on music that like rises up your, will raise your vibration and gives you a rise energetically. The music, whatever that is, whether it's drums, more the music effect on you, how it's affecting you more than just the dance. You want to dance, but the music and culinary specialties, like really watching a cooking show and go, ooh, I want to do that. And just watching that art, Libra's art, Venus, watching that art come to life. Like, I made that key lime pie. Oh my God, that was so much easier than I thought it would be. And maybe instead of going out and buying an all natural can of whipped cream, you learn how easy it is to make homemade whipped cream with whipping cream and a blender and a little bit of confectioner's sugar. You learn how to do that, and the taste is incredible. What does it do? It levels it up. So doing something like that for a coworker or your intimate partner, like they didn't ask for it, they didn't know it was coming, and there's the key lime pie, or there's the cranberry orange muffins, or whatever it is, to where there's just a soft moment and a sweet spot, and oh, that was nice. That kind of a thing. You get your cat's its favorite treats. You get your dog its all natural chicken strips. You lighten the mood by raising the vibrations of the room. And there's all kinds of affordable ways that we can make that energetic effort and bring the vibrations up. Sometimes we just got to get our hands busy and getting involved in it.
Yeah. Yeah. And with us kind of, hitting the over 1 hour mark, we'll get into the all signs for each of you, so you kind of know what's individually going on. But I think, Mary, you've done like a really good job of breaking down this full moon for everyone. Is there anything else that you want to kind of just say, just to kind of wrap it up, before going into the all signs?
I feel we're gaining new sight, how we perceive things. Aries, vision. Let's think about the vision. The eye is the window. The eyes are the windows of the soul. We have two visible eyes. Remember, Aries is I am. And then we have our third eye, our pineal gland, that many have touted that taking occasional melatonin helps decalcify the pineal gland. Nature helps decalcify the pineal gland. Our third eye, that center of the forehead, how we look at things from within to manifest without. I think this is certainly, being the first of the ascended masters moons, it's activating the third eye. We've come out of all this Pisces energy, Saturn spending 3 years in Pisces before mid-February. So what have we learned from the last 3 years of Saturn in the 12th sign of the zodiac, saying, this is where the fog is, this is where the chaos is, this is where the repeating pattern is, this is what the stress created, this is what got you sick or debilitated or down and out. And now this is about whatever surgery you had, or this or that improved, or it had to be dealt with and it kicked you on your ass for 2 months. You have a surgery, then there's a comeback from a surgery too. It's all a big process of becoming a new version of you. And I don't wish you to have arm breaks and eruptions in your body, or acne breaking out and all that. These are all signs that the body's having some turmoil on the inside, and all that Pisces Virgo stuff with the nodes, that's shifting this year too, and going into Leo Aquarius. So people that had digestive issues and colitis and that whole colon digestive thing that was going on, that's the Virgo Pisces thing. Pisces has to do with how we're repressing our sorrow, how we're crying on the inside. Well, now we've got the Aries saying, it's a whole new world. It's a bright new day. And we need to seize the moment and realize that who is this new person that you're now, I love the word you use, liberated. The liberation, you now have been liberated from the last 3 years of the last sign of the zodiac, and Virgo, the sixth sign of the zodiac, going, this is how your stress, your spiritual stress, your spiritual lacks, your addictions, your dependency on that pill or that booze or that whatever it is to get you out of your it hasn't happened yet, they don't love me enough, I feel helpless, I don't feel like enough's happened. That last 3 years of, if something got a hold on you, pharmaceutically, biologically, the drinking too much, did things accelerate to a point to where you had to face that something was in control of you? That's now saying, okay, now here's the new you. Here's that part of you that says, I'm a little shaky because I don't drink as much, or I got off that sleep pill, or I had to get off Adderall, or I don't know this person really yet because I was on that trazodone, I was on that gabapentin, I was on that for so long to manage my stress. Well, you know what? We can't be lazy and just have something that monitors our sleep, ability, or our stress abilities. You're supposed to be on that crap temporarily, if at all, so you can solve it. It gives you relief so you can solve it. So Aries is about that. Are you going to, it is confrontational. Aries is like, are you going to even try? Are you going to even try? Or has it got a leash or a chain on you that the first time you get tense or the first time something can be somewhat emotionally challenging or mentally stressful, you got to take that pill. I'm too nervous. I'm too this. Maybe you do need to take it. But are you leaning back on it, as they say, as a crutch? So Aries is saying to you, there are some new neurological pathways. There are some new habits you can develop in the whole month of April. And I would say going into May 6th. No planets retrograde. This is the time. Aries isn't the ending of things like Pisces. It's not the completion of the wheel of fate. It's the beginning. So this is the day, this is the month in 2026 that you dreamed about, with all this Aries stuff. I mean, just the time cycles that we've been giving you. This is the time. Mars hasn't been there for 2 years. Look at what you can do differently and allow that stronger version of yourself as Mars goes into Aries over April 9th and 10th. That's a key day to look at. It's a key day to look at. It's not, and it'll spend some time, about a month. Mars spends about a month. So look at from April 9th to May or that. And that's why there's groundbreaking analysis and science going on with lasers now breaking up tumors instead of just traditional chemotherapy. There's groundbreaking stuff to do with frequencies and music. And there's groundbreaking things that have to do with our ability to have new options, Aries, new, fresh, Pluto, Aquarius, high tech type of things. So there could have been a war on in your mind over the last 3 years. Virgo overthinks it, wants to analyze every single nut and bolt ad nauseum, but they're ready when the confrontation comes because they thought about every possible yay or nay. But the Pisces gets the emotional component and the fear factor going. So we are literally pioneers breaking ground with all of this Aries energy. So whether you're an Aries or not, this really is an equinox solar birthday in different forms of categories when we go through the signs. So what's the category of the Aries rebirth? What's the category of the rebirth that's happening that this full moon in Libra is actually giving me a spotlight on? Let's not forget that even though it's the full moon in Libra and we're mainly talking about the full moon, it's never just that. When Nicole and I are astrologers, look at the bigger picture and the mosaic of that art piece in front of us. There's a lot of parts. This is about this full moon in Libra is different than a whole bunch of full moons in Libra because the Aries is surging. The I am is incredibly present and strong. And Aries is about, I'm going to get liberated from that stronghold, from that addiction, from that way that I go at cross purposes with myself. I'm not just going to keep doing the same thing the same way, time after time, year after year. I forget who said it, but that's the very popular definition of insanity. If you keep doing the same things the same way over and over again, expecting a new result, that's the definition of insanity. So we're coming out of insanity. How can we further embrace, exhale the stress, and breathe in, embracing this? I'm a pioneer again. I'm a pirate. I'm a pioneer. I'm an astronaut. April 1st, those astronauts are supposed to go up. I think there's 4 of them. And there's like some kind of statement about one's not in America, and one's not from this country, and one's this, and there's a female. They're doing this whole diversity thing, Pluto and Aquarius, but they're going into some kind of space revolution type of thing. Look at all the meteors that have been falling. We were talking about this 2 years ago. Atlas 3I, talking about meteors, talking about stuff in the sky and how active the skies were. We were talking about that there would be tangible things that we would, signs and wonders to behold, start to witness. So there's a lot of things happening over our heads. Doesn't surprise me at all that with solar maximum here that only happens once every 11 years, we're going to see a lot of things in the atmosphere. I mean, I forget where it was, Nicole. They were talking about the sky turned red because it got so hot and there was so much dust. I don't know if that was out west or not, but it wasn't because of fire. It was because of heat and combined particulates in the air. And let's not forget about all the people that we had thought had 10 hats on that have been talking about that are getting verified now about things like rods of God's weapons and the Havana syndrome with sounds and frequencies and impulses on the brain and chemtrails. Yeah, let's not forget about that. let's not forget about that. Let's just kind of look at, wow, there's a lot going on that people want to shut down when pioneers are breaking ground on bringing us some new insights in some new ways. So for your comfort zone, look at, study, research, take a little bit of a deeper dive on some innovative, progressive, not divided by politics, just look at the progressive places in the world that we can maintain and celebrate, which is what I pray for every day: peace in the world, protection upon all the innocents, wherever these battlefields or whatever someone's agenda might be. I don't want to get into their agenda. I just want peace in the world. We're all Earth citizens, and I want peace in the world. I don't give a damn about his or her personality. I'm focused on the manifestation of peace and harmony for my beloved biological Mother Earth. And I bless that the heavens will continue to allow us to enjoy the majesty of our Mother Earth. That's my big thing with it. There's my rant.
Oh. Well, thank you.
There's my rant.
MJ in the chat is saying that the red sky may have been in Australia, possibly. I don't know why.
I think
Is it Australia? Yeah.
I think it is Australia, New Zealand. I think that's correct. That triggered a memory. I think that's absolutely spot on.
Okay. Well, let's jump into Aries, and we'll find out what's in store for them for this full moon in Libra.
Okay. So Aries, whether you're a March or an April born Aries, this is, regardless of your age, absolutely all this stuff is impertinent to you. You are the spotlight sign, but this is a once in a 29, 30-year cycle for you. Now, this full moon, and as Nicole and I were talking about Jupiter in Cancer, that domestic, how's my home? Am I happy with where I'm living? This is a first seventh house dynamic for you. So keep in mind that any kind of me-them partnership or relationship is, even if you decide to walk away from something or they decide to walk away from you, this can be non-romantic. This can be like, I can already see the handwriting on the wall. This job is serving a purpose, but I feel like I'm on some kind of a temporary flight here. This is a temporary type of a thing. So whatever it is, be it a person or a thing or a place, it's working out for you. You're seeing how important connections are and how others can increase your sense of self-knowing and self-awareness. This whole Libra's all about reciprocity. So that's becoming really big for Aries to accept and to give around this cycle. This Libra moon, where can you be more flexible? Jupiter right now in Cancer is caught in that square we've been talking about to the full moon from your fourth house. That's why I'm mentioning home. That's because Cancer is a fourth house placement. It's whatever you remembered or delighted in with your mother. And for those of you that had a harsh, rejective, abandonment kind of situation with a mother, that could be coming up for you to put some fresh eyes and some healing prayers on and meditations too. But you're looking to make some changes within or about where you live, how you live. So you may have had to first, Aries, confront or deal with some tension or challenges that require you to really process and assess about what you really want out of your living quarters, the colors, you clean it or not? Are you a hoarder? Is it time to go through that? Our home, our shelter, is also about our safety net. We need, however stark it is or however we rest our head there, it's supposed to be our place of retreat. So I would say for Aries, peace in the home, peace within the family, getting those domestic scenarios settled down. Mercury's helpful. It's very helpful. It's still brewing your intuitive skill sets. And so it can ease any tension that's coming up while it's finishing up in Pisces and getting along with Jupiter in that home sign of Cancer. I would say that dialogues, conversations, messages can take you far. You may find that you still need some more space than usual with Mercury being in your 12th house. So just take the time to go within. If you're working all day and doing odd hours, it's okay to give yourself permission to just decompress when you get home. So maybe you are staying up a little later because you need to wind down, or you work a night job and you just need to sleep a little bit longer during the day, or just not jump in the shower right away and just make your favorite breakfast or your favorite lunch. So focus on your relationships, Aries, whether it's with yourself or another, but try to work on the energy connection to become more inspiring and exciting because it's inspiring, exciting because it's got some inspiration. So recommit to something or someone that you feel has got value, Venus and Taurus, to restore and to get a better balance in your life, re-engage with people from the past. There's no retrograde planets right now, and kind of rework a long-term goal, because there's some new avenues that can come into this. Maybe something went stagnant that'll come alive again. If you're a Taurus, this full moon lights up your sixth house. That's about your routines. It's about your rituals. It's about any of your dependents, pets, creatures, that type of dynamic, and your well-being, and how organized the things feel. So the full moon's happy in a big sense, Taurus, because Venus moved into your sign. Love that. Love that. So your garden, the soil's already ready. The soil is already enriched. There's the mulch and the mushroom compost, and there's all kinds of good things going on there. I would say focus on some nutritional habits that are going to impact your wellness, be good to you nutritionally, in your everyday life, in your routine. Make better choices, some healthier choices. You're coming into your birthday season, but Aries is still your 12th house. So focus on wellness mechanics. Find a way to be more gentle to your body. I've got a couple of Taurus friends and a Taurus client that comes to mind that they went into physical therapy. They went into physical therapy so they could learn from a professional how to do those exercises at home to deal with sciatica issues or neck tension or shoulder pain. So that chiropractor, that osteopath, that physical specialist that can when we go to those people, they move us in ways that we don't do with our own posture or our own walking style or gait. They move things around. And what does that do? That gets the stimulation of circulation there, and it kind of doesn't let the muscles get too stagnant. So for Taurus right now, that's the way I'd lean this full moon. I would ensure that you're taking enough time, proper time to rest. Notice that you're going back and combing through work you thought should have been completed by now. Some things may be taking a little more time. There's an alternate path to this, that you're really trying to get a project completed. There's a goal that you're in the midstream of getting accomplished. So the sixth house is how we update, how we change, how we restructure our own routines and our daily rituals. So some new rituals might be very helpful. If you've got anything that's behind the scenes or very private and secretive with you going on health-wise, and maybe you just need to check it up, get the teeth cleaned, go check it out, kind of a thing. Maybe you're hitting the gym, or you're buying a new piece of massage or exercise equipment so you can do it at home. Taurus always loves that. Let's do it close to home or at home. So just look at how the general demands or busyness might be creating the anxiety that could prevent you or stall you from tackling a project or settling into a better version of a routine. So don't get caught up in the weeds. Don't get overwhelmed by the details. Mercury assists Jupiter from your 11th house. So reach out to friends, share some of the burdens, some of the responsibilities you've been carrying, and have some social moments. It's Venus. Have some social moments, a light-hearted lunch. You don't want to buy all the stuff to make the salad. Go out to a place that just makes kick-ass salads. Add the feta cheese and the apples and the strawberries and whatever, mandarin oranges. Just let yourself have a feast, because the food stuff works for Taurus. The healthy food stuff works for Taurus, but it's also how it's presented. Taurus and Libra like to present the foods like, oh my God, you just didn't buy some cheese. Look at that. Oh, and pistachios. Oh my God, that's next level. So try to not work on trying to control outcomes right now. Aries isn't that for you, Taurus. It's not your first house solar cycle right now. It's like still looking and investigating behind the scenes and being a bit quiet and stealth about it. For Gemini, it's fifth house. So here's your brother air sign. So Gemini, it's joy, it's creativity, it's expressive, it's pleasure principles. So a full moon in the air sign, and Aries doesn't fight with Gemini for the most part either. So for the last few lunar cycles, new moons and full moons, you've been feeling focused on what needs to be done in work and not so much play. This is about, Aries, add speed to it. This is about the engine starting for you to shine brightly and be around children. Maybe somebody had a baby, there's a grandbaby. There's like, I feel really creative because we're going to paint that outside area. We can make that our little pool bar, new carpet, new flooring. What makes you happy? So Gemini, dive in with both feet, because you're coming to a cycle of 7-8 years of Uranus, however you want to say it, being in your 12th house in Taurus on April 25th, the third week of April, Gemini, that sparkling cider that bubbles from the champagne, the planet of innovative, break out of the box. Here's everything fresh and rapid fire. It's going to go into Gemini. It's going to go into your sign. So if you're down in the dumps, if you don't like your life, if you're complaining about things, it's time to let that Gemini mercurial skill sets you've got to say, well, then why don't I stop going to and dealing with the people, the places, or things that are draining me? How might I bring the fire of creativity to my job? If I don't like my job, or I don't feel like my boss is appreciating me, what's Gemini? Communication. Sit down and say, this could be me, but I feel like I've been kind of thrown in the background, or there's been more piled upon me, and it's not so much just about a raise. I just feel like that I'm fading into the background and feeling taken advantage of. And I may be wrong, but I wanted to discuss it with you. Yeah. Instead of Gemini, your partner's being afraid you're going to jump down their throat, or Gemini, you're spewing an atmosphere of negativity with criticism and judgment, and because you're not feeling good or you're scared, but you need to put that in check, period. Put it in check. Criticism and sarcasm is not your way forward, Gemini. It is not. It is not. If you're Cancer, it's this lunation, this bright full moon is the Aries cycle is hitting the fourth house. The eclipse season is over, and now you're presented with some options. So I do feel for Cancer, it's been past lovers or people getting in touch with you that didn't treat you right or withheld stuff from you or flat lied to you. So I feel like it's a natural full moon for you. I feel like that it's letting you once again nurture yourself. Cancerians are very good at creating those sweet spots or those soft moments, giving somebody a ride over here, taking somebody to their medical appointment. So the attention needs to be on your emotional well-being. Libra soft, Cancer soft. Both those signs tend not to delight in direct confrontation. They're not ones that want to go in hot or screaming or judgmental. So there's a release that you need right now, and it's going to feel so good, Moonchild Cancer, when you can let these things out, when you can finally feel ready to let go of a past tension and no longer feel that you're held down by what was or how they didn't treat you right. You didn't deserve that. I agree with you. You didn't deserve that, but you got to move past it. So now this cycle is potential in what is, what could be, and what will be. So if you want to buy, sell, or rent a new space, or redecorate or freshen it up, this is the thing to do. And it might be decluttering. I've got a Cancer rising sign. I'm going through all kinds of stuff and moving it onward and getting it a little more pristine and clear it out and airy and bright. So I do see, Cancer, you're closing the door on something or some things that have been taking too much of your time, too much room in your energy. And sometimes with full moons, we need to be shown validation. We need to know what would benefit from our attention before we actually take the action. Aries jumpstarts. Aries acts before it thinks as a general rule. So give yourself some time if you need it, but don't get into procrastination. Jupiter squares the full moon. So you're going to get over that potential obstacle, even if you've got a feeling of being overzealous. Cancers can go a long time without facing the closet or dealing with things or clearing or cleaning that. And then all of a sudden, Cancer's all about moods and moons. They wake up and they go, that's it. I'm canceling everything today. I'm not doing a damn thing on Wednesday. I am going to dust that. I'm going to go through that closet. I'm going to give those clothes away. I'm going to go through those sweaters. I'm going to bless somebody else with it. I have to have more room. So I want to say that the risk that you're willing to take now, Cancer, it's a strong moon for you. Mercury is supporting you. Jupiter is supporting you. And don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to say, it's okay if it's your turn not to take them. It's okay if it's your turn not to deliver lunch or to be at everybody's beck and call. I just feel psychically like Cancerian moons and Cancers and Cancer rising signs right now need to have some knee space, and I'll leave it there. Leo, oh my God, Leo, you've got so much. You've got so many energy lasers going and coming from you right now. Everything's orbiting and changing its perspectives and communication styles and what you're receptive to, what you're curious about, how you're getting insights from things, what could be better than a joyful full moon in compatible Libra for Leo. There's the A team, Aries Aquarius, and there's the compatible L team of Libra Leo. So you're finalizing some neighborhood things or projects, or maybe you're getting to know your neighbors. Maybe there's new neighbors because you relocated, and there's new social connections that you're making. You're not leaving any stone unturned. It feels like for Leo, there's conversation that needs to be had, and it could come up rapid fire. It could come up from a sense of wanting that creates a dialogue that's important on so many levels. So it's how you're saying what you're saying. Third house is always, are you saying what you need to say? And how are you saying what you're saying? So you want to have some style and you want to have sincerity, number one. So you might be writing or choosing to speak professionally. You might be the one in some kind of friendship conflict or family conflict that ends up being the savior of that and comes in and helps to create a path forward. If you want to get a certificate or brush up on a skill or lean into learning how to become a specialist at something, absolutely 1,000% do it. Might be a short trip, might be getting in touch with a sibling you didn't know you had, a cousin, spending time think tanking with some people. So when Mars gets into Aries on over the 9th, man, that's really a sweet spot for you too. The Pluto in Aquarius, it's still early. It's still early. I do think it's bringing some second chances in an intimate type of situation or scenario. But if it was abusive before, you took them back, you're in your honeymoon phase, you're working things out, but they really are. Sometimes there's certain people we get together with, Leo, that can just bring out the worst of us, or it's destructive, or the relationship always seems to go into nitpicking or criticizing or judging, and the Leo isn't letting the other person have the boundary, or the Leo feels like because they love that person, they just have to take it, that it's their job to make them happy. That's why it's very volatile when two Leos get together, because Leo doesn't like to be told what to do, but there are a lot of times that Leo needs to put their own ass in check because they're willing to tell other people how to do it, when to do it, why aren't you doing it this way? Yeah, put yourself in check, Leo, because it's not going to work. And when Mercury, now that it's direct and it goes into Aries, you're automatically going to be leveled up. So use this full moon in Libra to stop and listen. Interact with the people you know you can trust that are close to you. Engage in deeper conversations. And even if you don't agree initially with what they're telling you, there really is such a thing, Leo, as constructive criticism. There really is. Learn about it. If you're Virgo, it's second house. I don't know a Virgo, and I know a lot of Virgos. I've always had a lot of Virgos in my life, that isn't somehow overanalyzing, a little bit of worry, a little bit of a landscape of worry about this whole financial thing. They're looking at stock markets and gas prices and home taxes, and yearly things and insurance. The Virgos right now are like, I don't want to focus on money all the time, but this full moon has your mind busy looking at resources and money, where it's going out, where it's coming in, and getting caught up and paying some things off that come around once a year, the insurance thing and, the oil change, and do you need new wiper blades and stuff like that. So, and also getting that all in check financially. So if you want to have that room added on, or you want to paint the outside porch, or you want to get some wood pallets and have a raised herbal flower garden bed. So second house is, again, the second house is the natural sign for Venus, because if we start the zodiac with Aries, Taurus comes next. So it's about our values. It's about what we, in 2026, not 8 years ago, not 20 years ago, in 2026, what's holding a value to you? What do you see as a reward? What do you see as something that would showcase income, but also help you with self-worth, and the things that you want to participate in? So are the things that you've been hanging on to, do they actually still bring you a sense of worth? Abundance energetically is not limited to just assets and money, but it's cultivated through our community and the sharing of energetic resources, emotionally, spiritually, and otherwise. So the sun right now in your 8th house will remind you of this. So you're working with the whole idea, Virgo, of ownership and combating a bit of imposter syndrome. Your investments are talking to you. in a lot of different ways, in a long way right now. And in addition to this, your sense of morals, your sense of worthiness, and the values are just going to come up. So it's going to ensure you that you are on the right path to closely examine how you embody and how you are right now. Let's come present in 2026. How are you living and embracing the things that you have defined as valuable to you? So there's a need to separate a little bit from the influence of others or what they think you should do, or maybe doing things the way the group think is. It's not to say you won't share or listen, but Virgo, you need to feel more rooted in your own values and your own ideas before taking any on from somebody else. Mercury is your polarity, and it's going to ease some of this for you. So spending time with people who energize you, I think that's particularly a overarching thing with the Libra full moon anyway. But it's reminding you, Virgo, of how relationships, the relationships that actually matter most now, can be soothing and can be that psychological smoothie. Libra, oh, spotlight's on you. Oh, all this stuff. When you look at the zodiac, Aries is the dawn. Aries is the sunrise. Lots of Aries soup right now. Lots of new dawnings. Lots of sunrises coming up over the horizon. But Libra is that beautiful sunset. So this full moon is the beautiful time in a day where we're going from sunset into twilight. It's not quite dark. The blazing colors are happening with the sunset, the oranges, the yellows, the golds, the reds. Then they slowly turn into the slate blues and the violets, and then night comes. So this is individuality. It's what's motivating you. It's your identity. And it's where you're throwing your spotlight of focus. So it's your time to shine, Libra. This full moon is in your sign, and it's lighting up your first house of not costuming, identity and self-worth. So be truly you without the influence of others' opinions. Boundaries are being highlighted, and so is your own autonomy. This is me. This is what I need to be. And these are the things thus far in my spirit and my life walk here on earth, listening to my spirit, that I have proved, sometimes the hard way, learning it the hard way, that these work for me. These are the values. These are the principles of behavior I will adhere to. I'm not backing down on those again. These are the things in my personality that got me out of dark places, that got me through addiction, that got me through rapes, that got me through, horrible. I hope it never happens to another living person. I had to go through it. I will testimony. I will bear witness to it. I will get off the cross. I did get off the cross. I am resurrected. Very intense around people that are Libra right now, because there's so much Aries. There's so much Aries. So it's a culmination moment for you, Libra. You can begin again. You're setting yourself up for absolute future successes. That's plural. But there's a little introspection. You're very visible right now. You're kind of like, why is this so major for me? Why am I focusing on this so much? Because there's a spotlight on you. So look more at what's the better way that I could handle all of this light. It's my turn to have an abundance of light upon me. Am I willing to step into it more? I can be on the center stage. I can take the spotlight. Me and my God, me and my spiritual principles, me and my divine alignment. I'm open to that. So those teachers, those readings, those health people, the nutritionists, all those things that can help you celebrate yourself. It's very important right now. And I'd say over the next month, Libra, really. But it's your full moon. Scorpios, it's your 12th house. It's psychological, it's embryonic, it's deep within you. It's all about repose, the hermit's repose, it's depth, it's introspection, and absolutely, it's the Aries fire accelerating your intuition. Trust that, if your higher voice, if your sacred guides, if your angelic messengers, the dream images, whatever, if the frequencies are saying, and everybody else is going, come on, and your inner self going, you need to listen to it, Scorpio. Keep in mind, there's a lot of things that are being finished up on your behalf behind the scenes in the spirit world. Your elders, your beloved people that have passed into spirit, died and left the earth body and are powerful in spirit right now. Keep in mind that we just recently officially closed out the intense eclipse season. That comes up again in August. So this is your chance to bounce back and restore from everything that hit you when we went through the February, March eclipses. So the full moon is the closing of a cycle when it's 12th house. You're being called to slow down and to be among those, the peace that passeth all understanding. It's mystical, it's supernatural, it's paranormal, the things that are bringing you peace. And it's not supposed to be maybe discussed or understood by other people, even though you love them and you hang out with them. This is an inside job. This is an inside job. Aries is positioned in your 6th house. That's our routines and our wellness and how we truly are good to ourselves. So even in chaos, Scorpio, you're finding clarity. You're no longer a stranger in this space, that you're on the move and you're navigating through the shadows, through the temptations, through the icky, sticky, vampirical lures. You're able to not get caught up in the quicksand of the dark forces and just the calm before the storm, in a sense. So you're being inspired, but you're really not ready to share it with a lot of people right now. So use this full moon to work through what's been left unresolved, tie up the loose ends, as we say, and sit with your feelings, listen to spirit. Sagittarius, 11th house. Not going to spend a whole lot of time on you, Sagittarius, because you're that favored. I mean, the Aries is good with your fire of inspiration and innovation. Sagittarius, you're on the move. You're glad to be on the move. Sagittarius is absolutely focusing on what they're thankful for, what they're grateful for. It's community, it's dreams, it's visions, it's hope right now, as well as sowing those seeds of hopefulness and dream weaving. So the past few moon cycles have been tough on Gemini and Sagittarius. They've been taking focus away from in other areas of your life. Now you can relax. This is reminding you of the support that you give others, and it's opening up chapters of something being innovative and fresh and unique in your life. So it's a shift in your perspective. The sun in Aries, oh yeah, that's 5th house. Play, creation, the effervescence of younger people and children, and like a baby grabbing your finger, looking into your eyes, you know, a kid hitting the first ball with the bat going, you did it, you know, soccer, all that kind of stuff. Sports can always be a part of it with Jupiter ruling Sagittarius. So Jupiter squaring this full moon from your 8th house. Dreams could bring you out of any fears. Dreams could give you the visions. It helps you get rid of that feeling of feeling indebted or tied to something or someone that doesn't allow you to be you. And you may find with the 8th house stuff that if somebody around you is down and out, maybe you can uplift them by fixing something that's broken or buying them a new one, and without expectation, just simply say, kind of got a little glance that you needed that and you mattered to me, so I just wanted to take that off your plate. So it's powerful. For Capricorn, oh Lord, Capricorn, everything's going on all the other cardinal signs. You're the only one that doesn't have a whole bunch of la 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 fa 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 going on in the sign of Capricorn. But you are very much involved with the Aries. You're very much involved with the Libra and the Jupiter in Cancer. So let's do business first, because Capricorn's all about work. Jupiter in Cancer favors you getting something sold, you getting something wrapped up, taxes are paid, numbers are good. I want to let go of that. I want to downsize over there because I'm going to upstart over here. So it's helping you really look at the figures, the facts and figures, and the configurations of how to get past whatever doubts or concerns you had. So there's talks around promotion, work recognition, change in work, more confidence around boots on the ground work, activity, renovating a home, adding some spice and some flair to the garden, or painting a new room, adding a sunroom. All of that's important to Capricorn right now, because what you do and where you want to go are coming up. But it's favorable. It's really favorable. It's intense, Capricorn. There's a lot to be done, and you're willing to do it. That's what I love about Capricorn. It's like, oh, what's the next project? Let's do this. I mean, that's the person in your life that's going to go, all right, well, shut up about it and let's get involved. And Aries is helping you get that rolling. And if you're an Aquarius, it's 9th house. This is mystical. It's otherworldly. It's music. It's how comedy and humor can lift us up. It's explorational. It's progress. It's expansion, but it's philosophical. So grow, grow, grow. Let the fields of your mind expand. Meditation, affirmation, setting intentions, journaling. I love that. for you, Aquarius. This full moon is in your brother, fellow air sign, working with you and keeping that levity going. Like, I'm not only flowing, I'm having fun with this. So comfort is the enemy of reward because it can keep you from engaging in a positive risk. This is a risk time for you, Aquarius. Aries and Aquarius, take the risk. Sometimes risk, Aquarius, are helpful because they motivate us by reminding us that sometimes in life we need to have a little bit of blind faith and we need to trust our gut. Sun's in your third house, helping you do the deep dive of research, pulling all the PowerPoints together, presenting it, marketing it, declaring it, selling it. So it can put you in more of an expert in arriving at how exciting and titillating this is and that you deserve it. So your daily life is busy, but I'd rethink about maybe how you can apply the strategies that are coming towards you because it's forward motion and it's fast moving. So use this full moon in Libra to energize the flame and reignite the name, declare the name of who or what you want to now expand in your life. And finally, for Pisces, it's 8th house. So here comes that word again. I see two words for Pisces, transformation and serenity. Not all transformations are easy. You know, you have to go in and have the surgery before you get the good news, or you don't have to have any more medical tests and things if you take it on a physical level. Transformation is how you finally healed from something that just gutted you or just really took you down a dark road for a long time. This is that hands up, palms up to the sky, thanking all that supports you in life and loves you. And that includes you and how you had the faith, how you had the perseverance, how you didn't let go of the belief. You didn't have your belief in love drowned and go down the toilet. It's like your own motives, how you pulled back the bow and arrow to aim, to understand the power dynamics, to implement some new skills, and to be able to say, I'm worth loving. I am a good all-around lover. I care about the person that I feel that affinity with. I want them to succeed. I know we're stronger together. I don't want to fall back on past fears. I want to, if you're going to choose one of the two F words, Pisces, you got to choose faith over fear, because the 8th house rules more depth in intimacy, deeper cycles, magic, absolutely the magic, moments that can happen that people say things like, this is so, I've waited for this for so long. This is so powerful. I don't have words. I don't have words. Have to learn my main soul life path lessons through pain and loss and suffering. Because the minus side, there's plus and minus of all 12 signs. Pisces often get lost in the depths of despair or the hurt that comes from, I played fair. How could somebody do that to me? Why would somebody do that to anybody else? So from the outside looking in, it's been hard for you to see how you could break down those old structures and those scenarios and habits. But those cycles, talk about liberation, those cycles are ending. It's Aries. It's an abundance of Aries. And so what's happening with you is it's about values and resources and really believing, faith, believing that this is a financially opportune time for me. My business is going to thrive. I might do a side business. I might want to expand. And so you're feeling your creativity's on high. Just don't burn out. But it's definitely a cycle that you're a surfer and you're going to be able to surf the high wave. I mean, the high tide's okay for you. You can take it on and you can get in that, what they call the curl. As the wave breaks, you know, when I was in Florida and I had a bunch of surfer friends, all the guys surfers just loved it where they'd get on the board, they'd catch the wave right, and they called it the curl. When they were going through that inner vortex of the outside of the wave was moving towards shore, and the arch of the wave was coming up, and the curl was that vortex in the center of it. So I would say for Pisces, you're in the sweet spot, the curl, where the wave is not going to knock you down. It's not going to unbalance your surfboard. You're in the curl of it, and that's what every surfer I've ever talked to wants out of surfing. I want to get in the curl. So it wasn't just cresting the wave; it was getting into that mystical, It's like they literally, a lot of surfers would just go up and touch the wave. They'd touch the water because they were moving. They were actually being transported in the inner magic of the wave of Mother Ocean. And the ocean and Pisces is always about what needed to die. I mean, just look at any ocean, any sea out there in the world. There's mystery, there's depth, there's all kinds of unusual creatures. To me, the ocean and the sea is as mysterious as galaxies in space. I see them as the same. One's got water that you can feel, you can drown, you can die. A lot of women choose water births. There's salt water inside of us with all our chemicals. So it's that whole regenerative thing. There's never a time that I haven't walked on a beach and put my feet in the water that I just kind of took a minute and looked out at the water and said, wow, look at all that has been born there. Look at all that has been died there. You look at countries like India and at the Ganges, the river, when they put the little ashes, when people have thrown ashes out into the sea where there's been cremation of loved ones and, they let it fly into the wind, whether it's a mountain or the ocean. It's trusting the mystery. Like, I loved you. I'm so grateful I got time to know you on this earth, and I will scatter your ashes into the always and forever of Mother Ocean, because truly we'll see each other again. And this is a rebirth. We came from a biological water birth into the air, into the atmosphere. We became breatharians. We became breathing creatures on Mother Earth, but we came from the movement and the flow of liquid in our water birth. So and even people that had the egg and the sperm put together, in a test tube or in a petri dish, and then they had another person, as a host, a surrogate mother or a surrogate sperm donor or whatever. There's still that mystery and that dynamic. Will the seed of life come about? So for Pisces right now, I feel for Pisces, I put them in the spotlight. I feel for Pisces right now with all those planets that were in Pisces. I feel like that you've not known an abundance of a cycle in at least 19 to 20 to 30 years like you've known now. I really feel the most liberated sign right now is Pisces. And as I close that, I will say, congratulations, Pisces. You worked your ass off. You had to lick your wounds more than once. You had to go into the forest of darkness. You didn't know how you were going to come out on the other side of it, but now you are. So look at those journals, write down things that you're grateful for, and understand that our prayers, our words of gratitude, our songs, the songs that lift us up. Pisces is another sign like Libra that can be so rejuvenated by sound and music and drums and that particular bird that's singing out there. So it's Pisces gets it. That Pisces and Libra really get it, that we're on a journey together to the center of the universe. So look deep, but into yourself, into another, and then that's the holy journey. That's the holy journey. So I feel like there's wholeness and completedness and a really rich, like I feel like Pisces is finding the treasure chest right now. I really do. I'm really happy for Pisces. I've talked a long time about how Pisces have had to be engulfed in depths that they really had to fight to keep their head above water psychologically, emotionally, and to have the faith to believe again. So if you know Pisces people, they can talk to you about faith coming out on the other side of the storm with faith, truly. And I salute them for that.
Well, I'm happy to hear that for my boyfriend. He's a Pisces sun and
good.
moon.
Good. And I think the neat thing about Pisces is that if they start to find themselves overstressed or overworked, right now what they've gained in their soul medicine bag is, I've been there, I've done that before, that's been done to me before, but you know what? I got my mojo, I got my juju, I got my good medicine, I know what to do.
Good. Well, there you go, Pisces. A little bit of extra love for Mary. I know some of the readings for you guys in the past have been blunt
whatever signs on the hot seat, I'm going to try to help them out of it. I want to give them a key. I may bring in some sharp criticisms, but I know you can get yourself out of it. But if we don't hit those specific areas of where you're kind of licking your wounds too much that the scab can't even form, then I'm not doing you a favor. And I'm saying, no matter what I said, no matter what criticisms, no matter what was going on, no matter where you were stuck, you don't have the thorns on the rose bush anymore, Pisces. The rose blooms for you.
Oh, there. I love that.
Yeah,
Perfect
true.
metaphor for you, Pisces. Well, thank you, Mary, for running down through all the signs for
And you.
everyone. This is this little full moon. It packs a little punch, because we have some big squares, but there are some blessings in there with Mercury trine Jupiter. And ultimately, this one is really setting you guys up for, like Mary said, a turning point. We've got Jupiter finally starting to get a little movement, getting off the 15-degree mark, and will soon be at that 16 degrees and on its way into Leo this summer. So, this is a big one to pay attention to. Pay attention to this one. What's coming up for you? Because there's a lot that's going to be you're going to be starting a big new cycle here come the fall. So, Mary, thank you once again for joining us this time. And next time you join us, it'll be for your favorite full moon in Scorpio.
Oh, I
Uh,
love the Scorpio. Not because I'm a Scorpio, but we have two full moons. In May,
oh,
we have two full moons.
oh, we do. Oh,
Oh yeah, oh yeah. We've got a full moon like this one. We've got a full moon over May 1st,
oh,
which
that's
is the
right.
Wesak Buddha moon on May 1st, and then we're going to have the 31st of May. We're going to have that third, the Trinity of the Ascended Master Moon. So we've got the Forgiveness Moon, the Risen Christ Light Consciousness here. Then we're going to have Buddha, which is we'll talk about how we have to let go of being attached to things with the Scorpio moon, and then the Festival of Goodwill, which is the end of May. So the opening door of may I, maybe, yeah. The opening door is Scorpio, and then the closing door of May 2026 is that extra full moon. So it's a blue moon in the very optimistic sign of Sagittarius, which is known as the Festival of Goodwill. So May is a really nice sweet spot of 2026. I mean, we're really going to see the gears and the tools and the wheels bringing things to life and moving forward.
Oh, I love that. All right, everyone. Well, remember, on top of this full moon in Libra, this month, this is your opportunity. This is your month to move forward. Take action. Do the thing because this month will bless you with a lot of forward momentum if you're willing to step forward. Remember the Aries energy. So we got a lot happening in Aries right now, and we are in Aries season. You are favored when you are bold in your decisions. And this is where it's time, especially with the year of the fire horse, you definitely want to be bold. Don't be chaotic. Be strategic, but definitely be willing to be bold. So, with that, remember that if you want to book a reading with Mary, we've got the links to connect with her in the description below as well. If you're interested in coming to the next 3-day 180 retreat, that will be this September 2026, and tickets are now on sale. I've got the link down there below. Guys, we love you. Have an incredible week. We've got a lot going on there. I would say, with the Easter weekend coming up, just this is a time, like you said, Mary, this is a time of resurrection. What needs to be brought back to life in your life, and time to also be very grateful for
Yeah,
perhaps
yeah.
the different sacrifices, and perhaps also it's time for any of you who love to play the martyr to stop sacrificing yourself. All right, get off the
Hmm.
cross and start living your life. Guys, we love you. Have an incredible week. And Mary and I will be back with you next month. But I, of course, will be back here again with you next week for a really fun episode. We're going to go deep into psychedelics, all different kinds. And yeah, we're going to explore the integrity and the purpose of integration as well. So it's not just all about the medicine, it's